I'm Don Andrews with Butte News. We have Julie Jacksha here from Ascent Bank.
Yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about Ascent Bank?
Ascent Bank is a small bank located up in Helena, and they just recently expanded down into the Butte market. So they broadened their footprint to include us down in Butte. We're launching a new space here in Butte. It's going to start out as a loan production office, and then we'll grow it into a full bank where you can make personal and deposits and have accounts with us and do CDs just like a traditional bank. We're working through that process. It's taking us a little bit of time to open a new bank, but we're really excited to be here in the Butte market.
Opening banks, you just don't open the doors and it's a bank?
You do not just open the doors, no. And it's funny because I was in banking for a long time before I had my last job in economic development, and so I help businesses get started and get going, so that's been really fun for me to see it from the ground up and learn it the hard way about how you have to find a place to be and find a location and find a marketing team and bring on employees and go out and get new clients and establish yourself within the marketplace. So it's been a really great experience for me.
And where's the new branch going to be?
Currently, we're located in the Thornton building on the 4th floor. We are going to be moving down on Harrison Avenue in front of the new facility that they're just putting in for U-Haul. We're going to be in that strip mall there for the time being while we search for a permanent home. We've been looking at all kinds of land across Butte, and as you know, it's as soon as you find something, it seems like it's off the market the next day. So it's a pretty competitive process right now, but we have our eye on a couple of places where we hope to build our permanent home.
Before Ascent Bank, you were with the BLDC and Headwaters?
Correct. Yep.
What was it like going from the public sector into the private sector?
For me, I think it's a great transition. I'm so used to helping small businesses and being integrated into the community that flipping to the banking side of it seems like a natural fit. Now instead of working behind the scenes to help folks find financing, I can be the one providing the financing. I can be the one that reaches out and says, I realize you've been working hard on your business and you need some capital to grow it, or you need to look at expansion. We can provide that backing, that capital. So for me, it's kind of rewarding to do both sides. So, I have the great background of all the grants and all of the opportunities that banks can work with the EDOs to make happen for businesses.
What is an EDO?
Economic Development Organizations, such as Headwaters or BLDC. We also have Butte Local Development Corp. Discover Anaconda now, I think, is the name over in Anaconda. We have several places throughout the region that work really well together with local lenders, and having that experience, I think, makes me a stronger banker, stronger lender.
And what are some of the things that puts Ascent Bank kind of like apart from the other banks in town, so to speak?
I would say that Ascent Bank is a small community bank focused on community. And so what that means is, we're growing our footprint within a community. We want to be there for community events. We want to support, nonprofits. We want to support sporting teams. We want to be a good lender. We want to do projects for the community, and especially in the region that makes sense to help grow the economy and grow businesses across our region. And what's different to me is, I worked for a big corporate bank, and they were always fixated on what was good for them. A local community bank is fixated on what's good for the community. We want to be a partner there. We want to be at the table helping deals happen. We want to make things easier on our clients and our customers, and we want to be a partner. So when you bank with a local smaller bank, what you're doing is you're actually building a partnership or a relationship with your lender, and hopefully that continues throughout the years that you're in business, or the years that you're building your family, or growing your business, whatever it is. That's what the difference is between the two banks. Yeah, and there is a lot of competition in the Butte market for banking, but I think it's the relationship. It's getting to know the person that's actually assisting you, and we'll pick up our phone, we'll call you back, we'll answer our emails. We're there to help you. That's our whole mission, is to help you.
Ascent Bank used to be First Security Bank?
Correct.
When did it do the name change, basically?
I think it's been almost 4 years.
Okay.
But I'd have to double check that to make sure. I believe, there were some employees that worked there, and they actually purchased the bank, and they had some investors, and the gentleman who's our CEO is fantastic. His name is Lauren Brown. He does a great job. He's been in banking a long time, and his whole belief is, we're here for our clients, and I think that makes a great bank.
What exactly is your role for Ascent Bank?
So I'm the market president here in Butte, and I'll oversee all of the operations of the local branch here in Butte. Right now I'm working on commercial lending, so I'm also the commercial lender in the area. I've reached out to a lot of people about different projects that they have going on, and I want them to reach out to me. So really we're working with the realtors in the community to make things happen. We're working with the EDOs, the economic development organizations, to make things happen. We are tied in across the state, so just because we're located in Butte or located in Helena, we can do lending throughout the state. So you don't have to be located in Butte to utilize us, or located in Helena to utilize us. You can be anywhere within the state, and we can even do out-of-state lending as well if need be. So that's a great thing that I think that we have that makes us competitive. The other thing that I really like is decisions are made locally. You hear that a lot about like banks. They have to work through the chain and go all the way up to their corporate office before they can make a decision. Smaller community bank, the decision's made right here. So, we integrate ourselves into the community, and luckily for me, after doing my last role for 13 years, I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of the folks that are involved in making things happen in the community, and so that gives me great insight, on a project that may be a good fit for the community. Yeah.
Are there any community projects going on right now that you're kind of excited about or working on?
I'm really excited about the Uptown Master Plan. I think that's going to be great for Butte, and I think it's going to be great for the Uptown, for the merchants and the folks that have their businesses located uptown. There's a program coming out called the SSBCI, which I don't know if you remember, but it happened a few years ago where they had some SSBCI, so that's the State Small Business Credit Initiative. That's coming through Department of Commerce, Montana Department of Commerce. That partners with a local lender to make projects happen. So you may not traditionally get your entire loan package funded at a local bank, but that allows us to reach out to them and get half of it funded through that program, the SSBCI fund. So that's really an exciting tool that's coming out. They just released it maybe a week and a half ago. They finally got all the rules in place, and so now we're starting to accept applications for that. So I think that's a really exciting tool, and I know that there's been a lot of conversation about the interest rates going up, and folks are really concerned. I bought my first home at 13% interest rate. So for me, I'm like, 3% is amazing, but I remember the days of 13%. So I just really hope that folks don't get scared off by that. I hope that things continue to grow and our economy continues to grow. And I think that you'll see it stabilize, hopefully, by the early next year. But those are things that we're all focused on, and I'm really excited about the opportunity to work in Butte and make things happen for folks. And not only just Butte, but the region down here. I travel to Anaconda and Deer Lodge and Dillon and Ennis, and we want to make projects happen.
Uptown Master Plan, what exactly is all kind of going into that? I know there've been a few meetings and stuff like that, and you don't really hear a lot of talk about it as much as you did like a couple years ago. How is that moving forward, and what can we expect, like the changes for Uptown Butte because of that?
I think that Shanna Adams and her team, what they're really working on is getting the funding in place to make some of these amazing projects happen. I know through Headwaters and BLDC, we looked at doing a streetscape on Galena with some Brownsfield funding. So hopefully that can still happen, where you change the streetscape just to give folks a view of what Butte Uptown could look like, but you actually work through a block of it in your community and then see how it goes. So, Galena is auto row, so we picked that because you can roll up those buildings and you can have great outdoor space, and we thought that was a really great look for Uptown. I saw that there was recently some murals done. So BT Livermore and his group were able to do a couple murals in Uptown Butte. I think that's part of the Uptown Master Plan. I know that they're working on a variety of grants for funding opportunities. And then I know that there's input needed from the community. They want folks to be involved. They're asking people to get involved with it so that at the end of it, when it's all completed, everybody can be excited about the project. So there has been some meetings, and they put that out for call. And if people want to get involved, I would reach out to Karen Burns at Butte Silver Bow or Shanna Adams over at the Finland Hotel and just ask how you can get involved. But I think for our community, that's one of the biggest things to happen in a while.
And where do you see, you've been kind of behind the scenes of economic development in Butte. How have you seen the economy change in Butte over the last few years?
It seems like things in Butte remain pretty steady. But over the last probably 2 years, COVID did impact Butte, and it impacted a lot of our businesses. And what we're starting to see, though, is that folks are betting on Butte. They're buying buildings, they're renovating, they're moving to the community, they're looking for business opportunities. A lot of the businesses are changing over, so maybe they've decided that they want to sell their business. I saw in the newspaper, I think, or maybe it was just on Facebook, I can't promise, but I did see where Joe's Pasty's going to open again. Nancy's Pasty's going to open again. Those are big things in our community, to go from having one pasty shop to now possibility of 3 or 4 pasty shops. I think that you're going to see a lot of transition, where folks have decided to retire out of their business, or maybe the next generation doesn't want to take on the business, so they're selling the business, or maybe they're closing the business. And then that gives opportunity for folks that want to jump in and buy that business, or maybe start a similar business for the community. Uptown, I'm super excited about, from the building on, would it be, it just recently sold Gamers.
Oh, yes.
All the way over to where you're at working, Miners Hotel. That whole block is filling in, and it's beautiful. I mean, those storefronts, I drive by there. I'm super excited. They've invested a lot of money into building those facades out. They look great in Uptown Butte. We had worked with George Everett and Courtney McKee, and I had worked on a pop-up program for Butte several years ago, and that was one of the things we were really focused on, was if we could just do it a block at a time and get all the retail spaces full. Main Street is also looking pretty good. I think we have one that's empty now, but with the M&M reopening, then that's going to be full. I think that's exciting for Uptown Butte and for the community. So now we just got to get people to make the drive uptown and shop with those folks. Downtown on the flat, we have some work to do. But I think that with the new funding that Butte Silverbow put in place, you'll see that fill in as well. So it's kind of an exciting time to be in Butte, to watch all the things. And I don't know if you were uptown at all while they were doing the filming, but I've lived in Butte my whole life, and I remember, as a child, I'd come up and go to the parades, and I remember getting cupcakes at the bank. That was a big deal in my life. And I remember going to Ben Franklin and the PO newsstand. And it's really exciting to see that opportunity come back, for the community. And I'm excited to see what the next 10 years looks like. I think it's going to continue to grow and prosper. And people, I hate to say that people have found us, but I think that we have been discovered, and we're really a friendly community that wants growth, and we're pretty welcoming.
Yeah. And you kind of answered my next question. I was going to ask, where are you from? You said Butte.
So I was born and raised, and if anybody drives down Park Street and you know where John Stinson has his, what is it, Stinson?
Chiropractic?
Yeah, well, it's
physical therapy?
Stinson's Physical Therapy. That's where I grew up. So he bought the property, and that's where I grew up. I spent my whole life on East Park Street. So it's kind of funny for me to watch it all fill in, because as a kid, there was nobody down there but us. They tore the Grant School down, and it got pretty sad. Everybody went away. And so for me to see that fill in and watch Park Street populate, really excited.
I'm kind of like going back to BLDC and Headwaters. Headwaters, you were doing 7 counties with that? And then BLDC, you just had Silverbow, correct?
Correct.
What did you see as kind of, I guess, the advantages of kind of being a part of both those organizations, as far as how to get things done and everything?
I think that the focus for me was always on the 7-county region, because the program that I oversaw required that we provide services to 7 counties. What was great for me was it just allowed us to be present at both places at once. So it allowed us to have our staff was bigger, and if I couldn't necessarily be at a meeting, we could send someone that could be at the meeting. Or if I was tied up doing something in one of the other communities, we would have a presence here in Butte. So we kind of were able to keep really up to date on things that were happening throughout the region. I think that both Headwaters and BLDC have a strong presence in the region, and I think that they work well together to make projects happen. Butte Local Development Corp has been around a long time, and they're really focused on Butte Silverbow, which I think Butte does need something like that. I mean, I always think of Butte as like the head of the ship, and then the other 6 counties are involved with us, I think that's kind of shifted a little bit. I mean, you see some other communities, Anaconda is really seeing growth too. And so that Headwaters allows all of them to work well together and integrate Butte Local Development Corp into it as well. So it's a good fit for the communities that are involved in Headwaters, as well as BLDC being able to share the same office space and the same staff. I mean, that probably helps financially on both parts.
And then as the market president, what are some of the things that you're really trying to bring to Ascent Bank and develop community, basically?
My biggest frustration when I was in my role was, the time that you waited to hear back from a lender.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be very responsive to my clients. I want to be able to call them back the same day, and if not, then I want to be able to touch base with them and say it's going to take me, a couple of days to get an answer back to you. I feel like customer service is really important
Mm-hmm.
to be a good partner. That's something that I try to be really good about, is like calling people back and being responsive. And then I think also it's a book of knowledge, right? It's over the last 32 years of being in banking and then transitioning to economic development. Along the way, I've picked up a lot of tools and a lot of things that work well together. And so I'm good at facilitating those conversations and finding ways to make projects happen,
Mm-hmm.
even though they're really hard projects sometimes. But I was able to work on a couple of projects in Butte that local lenders weren't able to get done, and we just had to go out of the community to get them financed.
Oh.
But I, as a banker, that's how I'll operate. Is like, I'll make sure that we are able to do the projects, and if we're not, then I'm going to help you find a way to make the project happen. Yeah, and I think that's a really good approach, and I know a lot of people in the community, and I respect what they're doing, and I'm super excited about the businesses that they're running, and I just want to be a good partner, and I want to be there as part of their team. And I used to tell people that when I counseled them all the time. I'm like, when you think about your banker, think like, your doctor or your lawyer. You want a good relationship, so when things are good, you can go in and have a great conversation. But more importantly, if things aren't good, you can still go in and have a good conversation and know that that person's in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the banker that I want.
You guys have been developing your app and online banking platform and everything.
Yep.
Is that online available for people in Butte right now, or?
Yes. So right now we're not allowed to set up accounts here in Butte
Mm-hmm.
until we're a full-fledged bank. So being an LPO, I can do any kind of lending out of the Butte branch, but everything has, like, an account would have to be set up out of Helena and serviced out of Helena. We will have an ATM up here shortly, so that will help folks that want to bank with us, that they can utilize the ATM services. And then hopefully, like I said, by next year, we'll be able to take on accounts and you can bank with us, and it will be a full-service bank. They have a great online platform for their banking. I hope that you've checked it out. But I was pretty impressed with it because I worked for a large bank that invested a lot of money into online banking, and this is pretty comparable. So I was excited about their online presence. And I think that you'll find with Ascent Bank that they want to do business differently.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be a partner in your corner, and the decisions, I like that the decisions are thoughtfully made for the community and for that business owner. We're not just going to give you a loan because you need a loan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that it makes sense for you as a consumer. So I was excited about that as well.
What are some challenges that, before you guys open up, that you need to take care of or deal with or anything like that? Like, what are some of, like, the main obstacles, basically, to getting to that point of being, full service bank here in Butte?
I think it's just getting established and letting folks know that I've made the transition.
Mm-hmm.
Because I still get phone calls from people that are like, oh, I was reaching out because I need help, starting a business.
Mm-hmm.
So marketing is important. Being involved in the community is important. I know that we've sponsored some events locally, which is a big deal for us. Snowflinga's coming up, and that's something that we've decided to sponsor and be a part of. So I'm excited for Snowflinga. For us to open up as a bank, there's requirements that we have to do. We have to give so much notice to the state. We have to do a few other things, and we're working on that currently.
Mm-hmm.
But the LPO is ready to go. I'm making loans right now. I've made a few loans in the last few months since we've been established here. And it's just really, I think that having the office where people can walk in and sit down and talk to me is going to be great. And we'll have signage, which is great. But other than that, being a full service bank is our goal, and that's what we're working towards. So slowly but surely, we're going to integrate into the community and make sure that we're a good fit for Butte.
what is the best way for people right now to get a hold of you for those lending services and opportunities?
They can contact me via my cell phone, or they can contact me via email. So my cell phone is 406-565-3840, and I do answer it. I've had a lot of people reach out through social media, which is great because I get those messages. But my email is jjackshaw@ascentbank.com. And you can go right to their webpage. I'm listed out there as an officer, so you can find all my contact information. I'm going to pick up the phone. I have some folks that are still emailing my old address, my old email, my personal, and I still answer those as well. So I'm excited for this opportunity, and I'm excited to continue to support growth in Butte.
I'm Don Andrews with Julie Jacksha, and if you need to get a hold of her, you can email her, call her. You can find her at the Thornton building. What's your office number?
I'm on the 4th floor, straight off the elevator, right
right.
there. You can't miss me.
Perfect. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you so much,
Julie.
Julie.
Thank you. It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.